Okay, so I wanted to make a video about selection pressure. So selection pressure is the idea in evolution that females of a species, or even males of a species, depending on the species, will select for certain traits, and then those traits will be passed on or selected for. And so the most common example is, deer. Female deers will see the stag with the best horns, the one who has the best fighting ability, and they will select for that trait. So then future generations will have bigger and better horns, and then the ones with the bigger and best ones continue going on. So I guess the question is, since humans are animals, we are still primates. We're more advanced versions of primates, but we still have a lot of the standard selection, not standard, but we have a selection process. We are not so beyond evolution that we don't select. We're not like some utopian society where everybody has equal chance and there's some lottery for mates, right? I'm not actually, that's not a utopia. That sounds kind of bad. And you don't want to be, you want selection pressure. Selection pressure is actually a good thing because in some ways it can be a good thing. And I want to get more into that. So right. What are the factors of human selection? And so if we talk about, let's say 1700 versus 2021. Let's say you're some Christian person living in a village, some medieval village. Here's what's going to be selected for. How humble you are, how nice you are. Height and muscle mass matter, but not too much. It's kind of, you meet the person in your village and things work out, you marry them, it's all good. I don't want to romanticize it because there was a lot of bad things in those times, right? Like a lot of stupidity and violence and all kinds of nonsense. But basically, let's say in the 1700s, the selection pressure is a Christian, lives in my village, doesn't have tuberculosis, right? Pretty simple. In 2021, the market is more global and the selection pressure has changed. So people will be selected for things like their height, their job position, their social status, their facial structure, their hair, all kinds of these different traits are being selected for. And you could even argue that there's selection pressure for things like being a bad boy, right? It doesn't seem like morality is something that's being selected for anymore. So I guess the approach that needs to be taken is, what do you do now that you know about selection pressure? And I guess the question is, you need to adapt. You need to see what things are in your control and then start operating on those things. But you can't change height, right? You can't change your facial structure unless you get surgery, which honestly, not very attainable for most people, so I'm not going to mention it as an option. But you can get more jacked. It won't be easy, right? Either you have to lose a lot of weight or you have to gain a lot of muscle if you're on the skinny side. But you can do that. You can meditate and improve your discipline so that you work better with more focus and less distraction. So, cut out the Netflix, the YouTube, the Reddit, all these things. If they're not good for you, cut them out. See what you need and then cut it out. And so you improve your mind. Maybe you realize you have to improve your social skills. And so you do that. And I want to make a video about how to actually improve those social skills in the future. And yeah, so you do all these things, but then you realize you're still losing. So you did all these things, but you're still not being selected for. And you're like, what the heck is going on? You did everything right. But the thing is, maybe you didn't do everything right. Right? It's like I mentioned, in the 1700s, there wasn't any proper selection pressure. Now there is. Women have options, right? And so in a society where you no longer have to worry about resources as much, entertainment becomes more important. And what does that mean? So what that means is that so I'll give you an example, right? So the pretty boys on TikTok, they may not have jobs, money, resources, but they look attractive. It's because in a post resource society where resources are taken care of, which they're not, right? We can talk a lot about societal collapse and the different factors that could occur. But as of now, in this position, like as of this moment, people are not in a scarcity mindset for the most part. People have options and choices. So they are not looking for the stable partner as much. They want the adventurous partner, someone who can do interesting things for them and make life useful. And what becomes important is when you would say, hey, I'm just not adventurous, right? I'm a stable person. That's how I was raised. That's just who I am. And maybe that's true. Maybe you do have some genetic disposition to make you maybe you're like the son of 2 engineers or something, right? And you're just very focused and that's just how you live. But I guess the main point of this video is just that be aware that selection pressure is a natural part of survival.